Recorded live in the beautiful Black Box Studios in New York, New York. It's the Matt and Ed Show, starring Matt and Ed.
Yo.
Yo. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the first ever
episode of the Matt and Ed Show.
My name is Matt.
My name is Ed.
And we got a show for you tonight.
Do we got a show for them tonight?
Oh, we do.
We do.
What did we watch?
For the first episode ever of our podcast, we decided we would bite the bullet and watch the 2010 Avatar: The Last Airbender movie, directed by M. Night Shyamalan, which means I need to promise now that I will never say his name again, because I have never pronounced the name the same way twice.
M. Night. It's Shyamalan, Ed.
Shyamalan?
Yeah.
Wait.
Shyamalan, yeah.
Where's the Y?
I don't know. Well, it's in there, but it's Shyamalan. It's not
Shyamalan?
like Shyamalan.
Oh my god. Okay, I did not know that.
So just
Shyamalan.
quick FYI for you guys. We're recording this with, I think, the world's shortest table.
Yeah, it's like below my knees. There's
Yeah.
a table.
Yeah, like we're not super tall, but this is extraordinary.
I don't even know why you would make this table.
It's we're recording this in a theater, a black box theater, and basically when we needed a table for the microphones and the notes and everything, and I had to stack. Ed, you carry a lot of books around with you.
I do carry a lot of books around with me.
And so I had to carry them all. I had to stack them up so I could put my microphone. Ed has a mic stand because we were using two different types of microphones.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways,
it's a bizarre setup. It looks like a Rube Goldberg machine over here.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But whatever. So we're going to get to that review in a little bit. But first off, we're just going to talk a little bit about the show, what we're going to do, what our plans for it are, and how you guys can get involved, because I think we've both been talking about this for a while.
Definitely, yeah.
And we want a lot of different interaction with the people who listen, and we've set up a bunch of different social media accounts. There's currently 2 ways to watch the show: YouTube
and SoundCloud.
and both of those are the Matt and Ed Show, or I think it might just be Matt and Ed Show. I'll probably check that.
There might be a the. There might not be
yeah.
a the.
So obviously you're listening to this on one of them. If you're listening to this, we also have a Twitter, so it should be Matt and Ed Show on Twitter. If you want to give us a follow, that's where I'll be posting a majority of the updates for the show. Will be either on Twitter or maybe I'll make a Facebook page later.
Facebook page would be good to have.
Yeah. So yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself, Ed.
My name is Ed. I like hats. Play a lot of music. I carry books, and I am here. That is essentially the list of things you need to know about Ed. How about you, Matt?
Well, my name's Matt. I don't wear hats. I occasionally read. I do like music. But I think I do a lot more theater, and I like lights and sounds and all that fun stuff. Yeah, so we came up with this idea. Well, a couple months ago, I came up with the idea of doing a podcast, because just felt like something I've wanted to do for a while. I'm a big podcast fan. I don't know if you listen to any, Ed.
I listen to the Sherman Alexie podcast.
Shout out to Sherman Alexie when he doesn't hear this.
You're not going to hear this. If you hear this, I love you.
So, I was thinking, because I didn't want to do it alone, because talking alone for an hour kind of sucks. It's not easy to do.
Both difficult and existentially horrifying. It's like, there's no win.
Yeah, so basically, I wanted to get a co-host, and I was like, well, Ed seems perfect for the job, because I don't know, you guys will learn a lot more about us as the show goes on. We have a lot of stuff we want to review. We have about, I think, a dozen or so shows lined up in terms of what we want to do. Also, we have an email address, mattandedshow@gmail.com.
There's no the in that one.
Yeah, just mattandedshow@gmail.com. If you guys have any suggestions or questions for like a Q&A type thing, obviously it's gonna take a little while to compile a bunch of questions to do a quality Q&A, or a high quality, dare I say.
The highest quality.
We have that, and you can send us emails of suggestions. That's probably the easiest way to contact us, aside from the Twitter page already mentioned, which is Matt and Ed Show. That's our name and our Twitter handle. So, yeah. So I think what what we wanted to do with this podcast is we kind of just wanted to come in here, just talk about kind of whatever we wanted. We didn't want to have a set list of things we wanted to talk about,
Yeah. Wanted to give ourselves the freedom to talk about all the bizarre stuff that is out there while giving ourselves a platform to talk about all the bizarre stuff that is out there.
Yeah, just a little bit about like the nature of our friendship and relationship is a lot of it is us finding the weirdest stuff to send to one another.
The weirdest stuff.
And like just either ironically amazing or like actually amazing, and just sending it to each other. So we kind of and we enjoy talking about it. So we figured maybe other people will, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely something we want to touch on is how much we really do enjoy watching really bad things.
The best thing in the world is to watch something awful.
But this movie.
This movie, though.
You watched it twice.
I did watch it twice. I watched it once when I was just kind of out of it. I sort of just wanted to go to sleep, and I'm like, I'm watching this movie. And then I just watched it again. And I just, like, over the course of the day, I went through the movie, and I just got to the last scene for the second time, and I just looked back on my day and what I'd become, and it was just... I think I'm going to hell for watching this movie twice.
Hey, I paid for this movie, okay? I paid $4 of my hard-earned money to watch this, to rent this movie. I'm not buying it. $14? You kidding me?
That's $4 and 2 hours of your life you're never getting back.
I was so confused, but I watched it at like 10:30 to about like 12:45, give or take, just because of stopping, taking notes, getting a drink, stuff like that. I didn't watch it in one straight session, and I thought I was just really tired, because like when I'd watch this movie, and well, we're gonna get into more detail in a little bit. We're just talking a little generally now, but I was watching it. And I thought I had like fallen asleep and woken up like significantly later in the movie.
They just skip stuff all the time.
They really do, and there's not really a lot of logic or
coherence or attention to detail
or any of those things. And so what I did is I had to keep rewinding it. Because I kept being like, "Oh God, did I miss something?" And No, I didn't. It was bad.
It's really bad.
We're gonna get into our more detailed review in a little bit, but I think just going on the fact that we have a lot of cool stuff lined up. We want to do a lot of different things. We want to do a lot of themed months. We're gonna get a lot of guests, a lot of our friends. Shout out to all you guys. You know who you are.
You know who you are. I don't know who you are, but you know who you are.
I know who you are, because I have expressed interest in being on the show, and we're going to get them involved in some way, either as a guest host or whatever they're doing. I don't know how we're going to do that, because our mic setup can only take 2 mics.
3 mics. Oh my God, how are we going to...
I don't know. But it's going to be really cool, I think. We're going to have fun doing it. I think that's the most important thing almost, is that we have fun, because if we have fun or we sound like we're having fun, hopefully you guys will have fun, right?
Theoretically, yeah.
So
don't hate us.
Please don't hate us. We put a lot of effort into this.
We did.
It's, right now we're sitting in a room, and it's just like us, and we're not even like sitting across from each other at this table. Like I'm at the corner of this very short table, and
like on adjacent corners of the table, sort of craning our necks around.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to talk to you, but like we have a very weird setup going on, and if I'll post photos of the setup on Snapchat or Twitter or whatever, I'll show you guys the setup we have, at least for this first week. Hopefully we can get a better table. I think that's the main important thing.
Big one is,
because I'm probably gonna get scoliosis sitting in this. We're not in the most comfortable chairs either, but we wanted to do this. We're really excited about doing this.
Yeah.
I think I've been wanting to do this actually kind of for years, and I don't know how much Ed's been wanting to do this, but I was really nervous to ask him because I don't know, you don't know this, but so it's May. I came up with the idea of having Ed as a guest host in about October.
What?
I thought about it in about October to do this, not as a guest host, a co-host. My apologies. I was in October, and like for months I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure if he's gonna like it. It's kind of stupid, it's just kind of my dream, and I don't know how much he would want to be into that. And so I asked you probably about 2 months ago, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
In March sometime.
Yeah, March, and we since then. Just to show you how prepared we are, we came up with what we were watching 2 days ago.
Yeah.
It's a Friday. We're recording this, and we came up with the idea on a Wednesday night as to what we're watching.
Yeah.
And I did ask a lot of friends what. So we have a lot of potential stuff lined up, but we wanted a really important first show.
Start with something that had a lot of meat to its metaphorical bones. I think we succeeded.
This is. Had you ever seen it before?
I had never seen anything related to The Last Airbender, actually. I hadn't seen the cartoon, I hadn't seen the spin-off, hadn't read any of the weird tie-in books that you find at airports. And I sort of knew it was a thing, so I really didn't know what I was getting into with this.
Okay, so for me, and I think we'll go into more detail about this a little bit, but I watched the show. I did not watch it regularly. I've not seen every episode, but I have seen episodes of the show, and I have friends who are super into this show. I have some friends who are like, this is their favorite cartoon.
Yeah.
So maybe in a couple months, and I say months, because there's a lot of stuff we want to do. We'll watch the TV show, and then I think we might have to go back to this movie and see how accurately they've depicted the TV show here.
That would be intriguing. But I don't know if my psyche could handle watching this movie a third time.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it twice. I've only seen it once, and I don't think I understand it. Did you understand it at all the first time?
I did not understand it at all the first time, and I did not understand it at all the second time. I have so many questions about this movie that no one ever delivered me answers to.
Well, I do have answers from M. Night Shyamalan himself. I did do some research. I found out a quote about this movie from the main man, M. Night Shyamalan.
The man, the legend.
Oh, he's certainly something. Have you seen any other M. Night movies?
I don't think so, actually. I might have seen Signs, without my glasses. I wear glasses in a barbershop somewhere. I think I saw Signs.
In a barbershop? The whole movie?
Yeah, there was a really long line. So it was in the back, and people were just moving down. There was a TV playing Signs. So I just sort of watched it, but then about halfway through, I had to take my glasses off.
That's wow. I did not know that.
I kind of understood this movie more than I understood that movie, which is horrible.
Well, I mean, you could see for this movie, right?
Yeah.
Did you watch it with anyone, or did you watch it alone?
I watched it alone, which I kind of regret.
I watched it alone. My parents, my dad was out playing music, and my mom was on a trip, so I was alone at home last night, and I had a big presentation today and a big English exam too. Right, one after another almost, and so
miscellaneous applause for surviving.
Oh my god, it was brutal. So I had our school our school has a high school, middle school, and elementary school in it.
Yeah.
So the elementary school's musical was last night, the opening night, the first ever time the elementary school got a musical, which was, by the way, really good. And it will be closed by the time this is uploaded, but it was a really good show, and congratulations. Anyone who's listening to it, it's probably not the actors because they're a little young, but if their parents or perhaps the director or someone is listening to this, I thought you guys did a really good job. And the Juliet, my friend Juliet, shout out to Juliet, who I saw it with, we both thought it was really good.
I didn't see it, but I saw a bunch of the live streams that were posted to the Eunice Facebook page. Shout out to the Eunice Facebook page, which you can see clips from the show, and it was pretty fantastic. Yeah, so I second the congratulations.
Yeah, and so by the time I got home, it was already like 9:30, because it was a short show. It was only about 55 minutes, but like I live pretty far. Not as far as you do. You actually live in another state.
Technically, I live in another state.
So I get home, and I figure, okay, I have to get all this work done, and then I'll still have time to watch the movie and like go to bed at a reasonable hour. And I still have to eat dinner, and because like I'm alone, so I ordered Chinese food, and I started working on the presentation with my partner and John, who hopefully will be able to get on the show pretty soon. John's awesome.
Shout out to John.
Shout out to John. And we're working on it, and my food comes, and I'm still working on it. Oh, sorry, someone just walked up to the door and almost opened it, and I was really scared that would be in the...
A brief moment of sheer terror.
It was very scary. We have this booked, though, so...
We're in
losers. And
Nerds.
So I get home, and I'm doing all this work, and I look at the clock, and it's like 10:30. And, like, thankfully, smartly, I bought the film, because it took a while to download. So I spent my hard-earned money to watch this movie, and I watch it, and then I just like kind of keep zoning out, and like I wasn't sure about anything. I said this before, but like I can't tell if it was just the movie was horrible. I mean, the movie was horrible. Like, don't get me wrong. I have plenty of points to definitively prove this is a terrible, terrible film, and I hope no one ever watches this. Or actually, no, that's not true. You should watch it.
You should like watch it for posterity.
Watch it with a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
Don't spend money on it. Don't give them the benefit of your hard-earned money on this movie.
Every time you spend money on this movie, they come that much closer to making a sequel.
I don't think they are.
They're not making a sequel. If they're making a sequel, I swear to God.
That would be god awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a process, and like I kind of wanted to watch it again, but I had like no free time to watch it today again. I know you managed to scramble.
I got really lucky and had a class canceled, so I had time to go back.
Oh wow, did you really? Lucky. So lucky.
Like,
none of my classes got canceled.
Wasn't there, so.
Wow. Was that philo?
That was Spanish, because I'm in the Spanish class.
Oh, you're in the yeah.
Spanish class of 4 people, and then 2 of those people were off doing something else.
I think they had their exam today.
Yeah. We're taking a psychology exam.
Yeah. No. Shout out to psychology exams.
Always.
Those people are gonna listen to this stuff like, I didn't like the psychology exam very much. Why'd they give us a shout out? God. Yeah. Matter of fact, I am also in that Spanish class, but we take different levels in the same class. It's a really weird system.
It's a bizarre system.
And you switched into my class, and you're actually taking more difficult classes than like you're supposed to.
In theory, yeah.
No, you are.
No, yeah, I am.
I don't know how you do it.
It's weird. I don't like sleep that much.
Me neither. I don't think I can ever sleep again after this movie.
True fact.
This was something.
Like, I'm just gonna go to sleep, and then just a shot from this movie is gonna. I think every single scene in this movie was seared into like my eyes.
Yeah, probably.
They're like, you know that thing where they used to believe that after you die, like the last thing you see is seared into your retina by the trauma of dying?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
I think this entire movie was seared into my eyes by that trauma, but I survived nonetheless. Like, you could cut out my eye, hold it up, there would be every shot from this movie overlaid onto the inside of my retina, or whatever. I don't know how eyes work, if that was unclear.
This was a journey, and it's been 20 minutes, so I think it's about time we get into it. All right,
get into it.
So we watched The Last Airbender, directed, written, and produced by M. Night Shyamalan.
For some unfathomable reason, adapted from the cartoon Avatar: The Last Airbender.
An awesome cartoon from the episodes I've seen. It's really good. It's like really well designed, made, acted, produced. All the things this movie was not. So it was released in New York on June 30th, 2010. About a month later for the rest of the United States. It stars Noah Ringer as Ong, as I would like to say, even though it's Aang in the show.
As one does.
And Dev Patel as Azuka, who is kind of the main little baddie here in this movie.
It was weird because didn't Dev Patel win an Oscar at one point?
Dev Patel is awesome, and he was
awesome.
He had his moments in the movie. I think if one actor wasn't trash, it was Dev Patel. But I think the one problem with Dev Patel in this movie was he'd talk and then he'd just start yelling.
Yeah.
And he did that like 12 times.
Like every line he delivered was like a response to... It's like he was responding to a mortal insult every time, and like he wasn't. So it got me thinking about like, imagine being Zuko in this movie and having to do like menial tasks, like say regular things to people.
Yeah, like I think he's supposed to be moody. That's the impression I got, is like a moody, angry guy. But his, like, I don't. Have you ever been moody or angry, Ed?
I've been moody in my life.
Do you ever just like yell random sentence? Jesus, poor. I'm sorry for everyone listening on earphones. Do you ever just like yell random sentences?
I mean, no, that is not a thing I would say I do. I don't think that's a thing anyone does.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy why anyone would choose that this is the direction they want their character to go in, and have everyone else say, yeah, Dev, that's okay, Yeah,
you have to think about, pretty much with every element of this movie, you have to think about the amount of people that signed on this. Like, I like to think of it as like the chain of stupidity.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. There's a lot of things in this movie that are very, very, very dumb. So, Ed, what do you think was the budget of this movie? How much money do you think they had?
Ooh.
For this piece of monkey crap.
Damn. I don't really know how much it takes to make a movie.
Give me a ballpark. What do you think?
So, probably, I really hope they didn't spend more than like $100,000, but I feel like it probably spent...
That's very off. I will tell you that is very off.
Well, more than that, because they spent a lot of money on CGI, but they clearly spent no money on paying their screenwriters.
Well, the screenwriter was the director and producer.
Never mind.
He wrote the screenplay.
That explains everything, man. It was the creative vision of one unedited man.
But the problem is the vision was already created by other people.
It was the plagiarized creative vision of a single addled mind.
Yeah. So what do you think it is?
Right.
Give me a number.
I'm gonna say in the millions, probably.
Yes.
Say like 11 million. I don't know.
You ready for this?
Go.
$150 million.
Jesus!
That's how much money they had to spend, or that's how much money they could spend on this movie. $150 million.
Oh my God, that actually makes me angry. Like, that makes me angry to the point where I feel like I'm gonna just start pulling a Zuko, like yelling at things.
Just for the reference, our budget is $0.
$0.
We actually we have zero in budget. But yeah, $150 million.
What did they spend it on? What in that movie was worth $150 million?
Well, you needed the flying bison.
You do need.
He is in the show, and he's awesome in the show. Clearly, by the way, just for the sake of me not being an idiot, I'm going to refer to a lot of the side characters by descriptions of them, such as the flying bison, because neither of us have watched the show in full or very, very clearly, as we've stated. So just for the easiness of us, we're just going to refer to that. And if you don't know what we're talking about, it's literally a flying bison.
Yeah, it's literally like a six-legged bison that flies for some reason. Actually, one of my favorite lines in this movie is right when they discover that the bison thing can fly. Like, a couple characters go out and they watch this bison creature thing, and it's like floating in the air, and the character says to the other, "This bison creature thing floats." It's just so matter of fact. Like, it's like you're delivering exposition to your friend who's watching the bison creature thing floating, just in case maybe the writer doesn't think the audience understands that that's a bison creature thing and that it's floating.
By the way, Ed just said that with more emotion. Not his rant about it. The actual line with much more emotion than I think any actor, with the exception of Dev Patel, yelling in this movie. It was,
so bland the entire time.
So we established $150 million to spend.
Right.
How much money do you think they made for this movie?
Ooh, I'm gonna.
Actually, how about this? What was their box office? So it's not gonna be. It's not necessarily what they profited. It's what.
Right.
How much money people spent to see this movie box in office. Theaters? So this is not counting my contribution of $3.99 to this movie.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say it's probably significantly less, because I don't feel like people would go see this after like
the first weekend.
Yeah. People reported back that this is not so much a movie as a steaming pile of excrement here, but I'm gonna say maybe $100 million.
$100 million, you think?
That's my wild guess.
This movie, and Ed has no clue.
I do have no clue.
I've done all this research in secret. This movie made $319.7 million. This movie made a profit of almost $200 million.
I don't even know how to react to that information. Like,
this movie was a success. It was successful.
Who went to watch it?
Apparently $319 million worth of people. M. Night Shyamalan has a lot of friends.
So it appears. That actually... Oh. Jesus.
You know who didn't watch it, though?
Who didn't watch it?
The original voice of Prince Zuko revealed in a Reddit AMA that he was told by his friends not to watch it. He was he was told not that he shouldn't watch it. The guy who spent years, because this show lasted a couple seasons, years playing this character, and it got adapted into the big screen, and he has not seen it.
Mostly I'm relieved.
I'm relieved for him. It's very good for him that he hasn't seen this, but we have, some of us multiple times. So I guess let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into the narrative beats.
So
call it a narrative.
This movie is about these four tribes. So there's fire, water, earth, and air. And within these tribes, people can bend things. They're called benders. They can control the use of certain things. Like you can, if you're a fire bender, you can control fire. If you're a water bender, you can. It's pretty self-explanatory, right? Yeah. And so basically, everything was all peaceful and prosperous until the Fire Nation attacked.
The Fire Nation attacked,
and they did, and they killed all the airbenders.
They just specifically decided that tribe, we're gonna kill all of them.
And except for one.
They missed one guy.
He is the, as they call in the movie, the Avatar. I don't know if you noticed that in the beginning.
I did notice
they
that.
call it, and they say it multiple times. It's like the Avatar.
That's
Avatar.
how you say the word, guys. Like,
It's Avatar. Ong. I don't know what's up with him.
Yeah. My theory for Ong is that they were trying to make it closer to angst, because that is definitely something Ong experiences throughout this movie.
He experiences a lot of getting kidnapped and then escaping with relative ease.
Like, yeah.
Without the assistance of very many people. I think he escaped once with help from Zuka, his enemy.
Yeah.
The person who established that he's the Avatar and wanted to murder. But
first captured by Zuko. And then he escapes with relative ease.
Yeah. So some of the other characters in this movie. So there's two siblings. Their names are Katara and what's the other one's name?
Either Sokka or Sokka. I think they say both throughout the course of the movie.
I think it's Zuko. Right?
Zuko?
No, Zuko. No. Wait.
No, Zuko's the fire guy.
Yeah, no.
Zuko's definitely the fire guy. It's either Sokka or Sokka. But I don't know which, because they definitely said both of them. He's not that important anyway. He just sort of like delivers meaningful lines.
I feel like anyone who's ever watched the show is yelling into their computer screen.
That's probably true.
Sokka. Sokka. That's what it is.
Sokka. Okay.
Sokka. So basically, they find him, the Avatar, in the Airbender, in a capsule of water, because they're hunting for something.
Pretty much, the first thing we learn about Katara is that she's a waterbender. So
she is apparently the only waterbender in her tribe.
Which
she just conveniently happens to be the only one that can bend water in the tribe.
By sheer coincidence, every other community we meet has plenty of people with bender abilities, but this one tribe just has the one.
And she just happens to be the one to find the Avatar.
Exactly. But the first thing we learn about Katara is that she's not that good at bending water, but she can sort of do it. The first thing we learn about Sokka is he's not that good at hunting, but can sort of do it. So we have this theme of
being mediocre, which I think is a very good a very good theme of just the film in general.
Stand on in great depth.
Being not very good at what you're supposed to be good at. So they go in and they find this, I guess, orb thing.
Yeah, it's like
they see something in the ice, and they chop it, and then something happens. I don't know what it was.
I also don't know what it was.
Something happened, and then some beam of light, I guess, shined up, and this beam of light is talked about multiple times. It would have been great if it was actually clear and made sense, and then
there's just a beam of light.
Sokka,
no reason for the beam of light.
Sokka yells, "Katara, don't touch it!" And what does Katara do immediately after this happens?
Within 7 seconds, Katara touches it.
And suddenly this child with tattoos and a robe appears from the depths of, I guess, this orb. He appeared to have encased himself. The arb. So, yeah. And I just gotta say, I'm gonna say this now, because it's at this point in my notes where this comes up. There's a shot of the two siblings when they're hunting. The green screen was so prominent, and I'm not really a guy who really cares about it that much, but they had $150 million. 150.
They spent maybe 6 cents.
And this isn't the only time this happens in the movie.
It's really not.
It's incredible how terrible and it's always the two of them whenever they're looking at something.
Yeah.
It's the green screen is so prominent that it angers me.
Whenever they're putting people in the foreground to look up at something that's happening, it's distractingly awful.
Yeah. So they do that, and I guess they bring him back to the village or whatever.
They bring him back to their village.
He's just kind of there. The first time he speaks is a nothing line. This big important main character in your plot who's been, I guess, revived from the dead, is just not whatever. It doesn't matter.
Oh, speaking of first lines, actually, I noticed that the first spoken line in this movie is Katara talking to Sokka saying, "I'm sorry." And I would like to believe that is directed at the audience from the cast and crew. Because that's the only way I can let myself believe to an extent that these people knew how bad the movie they were making was.
Also, I think now is when we should address this. It's like supposed to take place in like Asia, right? That's where the show takes place. Why is everyone white?
Everyone is white.
Except Dev Patel. Dev Patel's not white.
Most
the
of
Fire Nation isn't white. The evil people, the evil Fire Nation is not white.
Only the evil.
But everyone else is white in this movie. Except the Earth Nation's kind of Asian. There's like a couple Asian dudes in the that are Earthbenders. But like water's white, air's white. All the actual important characters, aside from the bad guys, are white. M. Night Shyamalan, not white.
What are you doing, man?
It's weird because like they're very clearly supposed to be playing up the Asian like inspiration. The show is not made. The show is made by Americans, but they took a lot of inspiration from Asian and anime style and incorporated it into their show.
In terms of the design, there's a lot of Buddhist elements.
Yeah, and so in the show they're Asian. They're of course voiced by like white people, but they're Asian. These guys were not Asian.
These guys were very not Asian. These guys were like Swedish.
Yeah, the guy who played Ong's name was Noah. Like
Noah.
He's a very white guy. So what happens next, Ed, is the Fire Nation notices a beam of light that can only mean the Avatar.
Apparently.
Who the Avatar, just for the reference, is the person who can control all four of the elements. He can bend everything, even though he can't.
Exactly.
He kind of learns it, but
you sort of have to learn how to bend.
Yeah.
Which is probably why Katara is so incompetent.
Yeah, and there's scrolls that you have to learn, and I don't know why people just don't tell people or like have multiple copies of the scrolls. There's a lot of plot holes here.
A lot of incompetence all around.
So, I think I was about, and so the confusing thing for me is Sokka comes in, right? Zuko, my bad. Zuko.
Fire guy.
Yeah, fire guy.
Dev Patel.
Zuko.
Why were you in this movie?
I wrote Zoka in my notes. And Dev Patel comes in. And his first reaction when he finds the light and goes into the water village is to round up all the elderly people. He wants to take all the old people.
He yells out, "Bring me all your elderly!" Like, that's one of the first...
he does. That is, I think, his first line.
His first line is like, "My name is Zuko. I am the prince of the Fire Nation. I am the heir to the throne, yada, yada, yada. Bring me all your elderly!"
And I think that's a recurring theme here is people just say exposition.
Yeah.
It's not like... It's like he could have just had like a name tag. Like that would have been like as effective.
Someone could have called him Prince Zuko, and we would have known everything we need to know about him. But he just states who he is.
Or someone could have told Ong.
Yeah, exposition is just directly delivered to the audience at all times.
So at this point, it was about 11 minutes into the movie, and I've decided I hate every character in this movie so far.
Actively so.
And so basically, what happens is Aang gets captured. They found out he's Ong gets captured. They found out he's the Avatar. He escapes. He reunites and goes on a mystical tour on a flying bison. Then he gets captured again. Then he escapes again. Then he gets captured again. Then he escapes again. And then the movie ends.
That's pretty much it.
That is the plot of this movie. But there's a lot more we have about this that we are going to complain about.
All right.
So, you want to go first, and then I'll go with my biggest continuity error in this movie.
I think my single biggest gripe with this movie is people reveal plans to each other that should have been stupidly obvious. The first time this happens is when Aang, the Airbender, and Sokka and Katara fly the bison into like a colony of earthbenders that's under the control of the Fire Nation, and like start a rebellion pretty much by Aang points out to the earthbenders, "Guys, you're on land."
You're on land.
Yes. He just sort of points out that the thing they can control is right there surrounding them at all times, and they have no reason not to use it. Like, this should be obvious to these people. Which is why, in my notes, earthbenders are only referred to as stupid rock guys.
Are they really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
This happens again with the waterbenders, where in the climax of the movie, there's a siege on a colony of waterbenders that has way more waterbenders than the guys in the south for some reason. Has something to do with spirits. It's all very confusing. But Aang has to remind everyone that there's an ocean there. Like, the final scene is him using his powers to intimidate the Fire Nation by using the ocean. They're sailing! The entire Fire Nation is here on boats! You control water! Why would you not sink the ships as soon as you see them?
Well, Ed, here's because they can control fire, and fire is obviously stronger than water, apparently.
Always. You see fire and you see water, and the fire puts
always
all the time.
Yeah, there's nothing they could have done, and there's also Sokka in this movie. There's a princess in this water town.
There is a princess in the water town.
And they just fall in love, question mark?
It's sort of...
It's just kind of there. Like, in the show, this person is a character. I know that. And they do fall in love. Spoiler alert. By the way, I'm sorry if anyone... I don't think anyone gives a crap about...
If anyone cares about this movie, you have bigger problems than us spoiling it for you.
But first off, her hair kind of looks like a penis. I don't know if you've noticed that.
That's true.
It does.
It does. It really does.
Like, that's a common complaint at the movies, that they made her hair to be a penis.
Why would you?
Which I think if you ever need a more iconic image for the movie, and she's a very pretty girl. She's very pretty. But
she is.
The way this is described is... by the way, this is going to go to a much larger point I have.
All right.
Throughout the movie, Katara is narrating of her events of the movie. The movie opens up with her kind of reading a Star Wars font type gimmick.
Spitting hot exposition to the audience.
Yeah, which in fairness, in the show, the opening of the show, Katara is talking about what happened, and that's where the classic and then the Fire Nation attack comes from.
It isn't in the movie, which was very disappointing.
Is it not?
It's
I swear it is. I thought, God. See, you've watched this twice. So, basically, sometimes she just kind of explains things. And we never are shown these things that happen. Like, so she basically says... So, yeah, there was a princess there, and my brother and her got along very well. And then what they show is they just look at each other.
Yeah, there's just this...
And now we're just supposed to assume these two people who have never met each other ever in their lives ever are just in love.
It's very weird.
And, by the way, it's not like that's important in the movie.
It doesn't actually come up. It's just sort of a side note.
But the one major problem, there's one specific moment in this movie where I decided I hated it. I said I hated every character, and I did. But the movie, I hated when this happened. So Aang has just escaped capture for the first time.
First of many.
By literally just walking out the door and gliding away.
Sort of flapping around with his stick.
I'll give him credit. It's the first time, so it's like that's okay. But you'd think by the second time they'd be able to use a more effective way of keeping him out. But what happens is they cut to a narration as they are flying over the magical flying bison, and Katara's talking about how, and I quote, Aang told us all about his life before. That's not an exact quote, but she does mention the word Aang. She says Aang. And then they go to the air temple. In the very next, sorry, it's more people walking around. The very next scene, literally the next scene in this movie, she asked, "What's your name?" And he goes, Aang. Hold on a minute.
Let's rewind for 6 seconds.
Didn't she just say Aang?
She literally did. She said his name.
I was so mad. I got up. This is true. I got up. I walked around for a little bit. I poured myself a glass of water. I looked, and I almost texted Ed, "Why am I doing this?" But instead I texted him, "This movie is so bad." And I had to just like think about life for a little bit. Like I called my mom, and I was like, I talked to her for a little bit, and then I hung up, and I walked back, took a deep breath, continued watching the movie. Actually, no, I rewinded it first to make sure what had actually happened had just happened. And it did. And that was the moment in this movie where I realized I hate everything about this.
Every single element.
I cannot enjoy any part of this movie, not even ironically at this point. So, yeah. That was I think the moment. Did you have that moment?
There was a moment like that for me. I decided I was done. That was it. That was all it was gonna be for me. And that moment was when there's a scene where there's the Fire Nation, and they're like, it's sort of during a montage where they're going from town to town, inciting rebellion by reminding people that they're standing on dirt.
This would be Ong and all.
Yeah, this would be
inciting
Soka.
Yeah,
guitar.
they'd be starting the rebellion, and their monkey bat thing.
And their monkey bat thing that's sort of mentioned once.
It's mentioned and then it's physically present, but then it's not important.
But I think they give it a name at one point. They just mention the name within the last half hour, but I can't remember what the name was. But anyway, they're going off and they're citing the rebellion, and like there's a montage, and there's a scene in the montage where another Fire Nation bad guy named General Zhao, who actually I thought delivered a pretty solid performance overall.
He was all right, yeah.
Yeah, he was okay. Fine. But someone comes and he like brings him news, and he's standing in the war room and he looks concerned. But I noticed that in their war room of the Fire Nation on their ship, there's a table.
There's no fighting in the war room.
There is never fighting in the war room.
It's a Doctor Strangelove reference.
Love that movie. So watch that movie instead of this.
Yeah, watch that instead of this, which we might do later tonight.
That's a good idea. All right, but in the war room, there are like these markers on the table, and they've got like humans. It sort of looks like a battle plan. It's like one of those things where you got the figures and you're pushing them around, but the table is on fire.
Well, they're firebenders.
They're firebenders, but they set their table on fire. Like that's
their wood table.
No, it's metal.
Oh, it's metal?
It's like full of hot coals.
Oh, wow.
And
I actually kind of would have preferred it to be a wooden table.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been perfect.
That would have been perfect. But firstly, not everyone on the ship is a firebender. So,
no.
like, there are plenty of people that are very, very, like, vulnerable to being set on fire.
And I assume even a firebender, if they got attacked with fire, would not enjoy it.
Exactly. So they actively take out the time and they take out the energy from their ship to fill their war table up with hot coals. And I looked at that table and I decided I was done. I wasn't done. I hit play again.
There's another point in the movie where Ong escapes again from the stupid Fire Nation that are stupid and just they can't do it. They're like stormtroopers, except at least stormtroopers have like some type of genuine likability to them.
Stormtroopers are like that guy's a bro.
They at least have like Wilhelm screams and stuff like that. And we walked in, and so this masked figure, perhaps a luchador, came in and held Ong, the Airbender, by the throat with a knife. So all the firebenders couldn't do anything about it. And what happened was they let him escape. By the way, there's about 100 of them. Maybe more. Probably more. And there's two people, you know? There's this masked luchador and the Arvartar. And So they go and they escape. And then they just launch a missile at him.
Yeah, they just shoot a crossbow.
And that's apparently enough to attack him and to keep him out. And so they unmask this luchador. And it's
Furious luchador.
It's Zuko.
It's the guy that captured him the first time and saved him the second time.
Let me clarify, the person who kidnapped him, or who unveiled him.
The man who demanded all their elderly that one time.
Yeah, the man who unmasked this luchador though was Ong, and everyone else was pretty far away. Yeah. So I don't think anyone saw this.
Yeah.
There's no way you can tell.
This huge tunnel.
He was also covered in like head to toe in attire,
ridiculous clothing.
And so it's not the next scene, but like the next time you see Zuko's father and I guess his advisor, Man Zhao, yeah. They're there. And Man Zhao, the advisor, goes.
It's Zhao. He's my man.
Oh, sorry. Zhao, the advisor, my man Zhao, just goes, I have no evidence for this, but I think it was Zuko who helped the Arvartar escape. And I sat there, baffled. How did he know? Why doesn't he have evidence? What? Why? Like, they had established that he has like a history of like defying his father, but he was the one who found the Arvartar, and then he captured him at first. So why was he saving him? And more importantly, how did Zhao know?
One of those questions I think I can answer.
Okay, humor me.
All right. So I think the reason that Zuko is putting on this ridiculous costume, I don't know where he got the costume. Like, did he just have this mask lying around?
Perhaps he is a luchador in his spare time.
I really hope so.
He was bitten by a radioactive luchador.
Does that?
Yes, that's how it works.
The system works. Alright. So Zuko and Zhao are like in a race to find the Arvartar and bring him to Zuko's dad. Because Zuko's sort of been disgraced, and he's not allowed to wear the ridiculous Fire Nation uniform, but he does anyway. And I think he's trying to take and bring him to his father before Zhao knows what happens. This is obviously a terrible plan, because if he escapes, Zhao will know that Zuko had him when Zuko turns up with the Arvartar later. But I think that's what his logic was.
In capturing him?
Yeah.
But then the Arvartar just heals him up, and they just go on their merry ways.
Yeah, they just sort of split up.
Whatever.
Zuko makes no effort to capture him again. I think it's sort of implied that Aang leaves before Zuko becomes conscious again.
I think so, but like, I don't know.
It's very weird. Like, Zuko did not think this through.
And also, like, they're just chunks of the movie where just characters just aren't in there. Like, when Aang was captured the second time, like, what were Katara and Sokka doing? Like, honestly, like, what were they doing?
We don't know. They just, like, they skip over parts.
And then, like I said earlier, I thought that the movie was, like, I thought I'd, like, somehow gotten, like, a bad copy of it, or, like, it didn't download properly, even though I did pay for it from a very reputable source.
Shout out to iTunes.
Yeah, shout out to iTunes. And, basically, it was I was so confused. And I guess it was maybe a combination of watching this late at night. But also, I don't feel like this movie did me any favors in terms of explaining stuff that just happens. I'm just supposed to take everything that happens as, like, take it for granted.
You just jumps and things happens, and they show you the repercussions of what happened, and you just sort of have to accept it.
But they don't show you the things that happened.
Sometimes Katara will tell you what happened.
Katara will occasionally do that.
But, like, rarely.
And so this movie ends. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, so what was resolved? Because the movie ends, and, like, nothing's resolved.
Nothing. I think it means they thought they were going to get a sequel.
I believe so, too. I think it was intended to be a franchise.
They were trying to make more of these, and that just, like, I'm scared of that. I will have nightmares for the rest of my life about Last Airbender 2.
It's pretty scary, but I can confirm that that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
So, this movie has a 6% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It is M. Night Shyamalan's lowest rated movie. And trust me, there are some low rated ones on there. But this movie was so bad that his next movie, After Earth, which is also terrible.
Is that the Will Smith one?
Yes, it's Will and Jaden Smith, and it's just awful.
God.
And it was so bad they didn't advertise him when he was directing it.
They didn't put his name on anything?
Not on the promotional material, no.
You have that coming, man.
It was pretty bad. So, you know what we heard about it. I have some comments from some people who you might want to hear about. Please. I told you about the original voice of Zuko. The creators of the show said they'd like to pretend that the film doesn't exist. It wasn't approved by us before, and anytime we tried to input stuff, it would just be denied or turned down. So the original creators of the show had no input into this movie about their show, using their characters.
That I would rather that than I had learned that this was all their idea, honestly.
But can you imagine?
I know.
Because this is like the most anyone would ever have watched their property.
Yeah.
Because there's no way 319 million people would have, like, dollars worth of people would have watched their stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it is, the longest. And it wasn't an attempt at a franchise. It was an attempt. Do you want to hear what M. Night's defense of this movie is?
I really, really do.
So, he compared himself to an artist when doing this. He said, quote, "I bring as much integrity to the table as humanly possible. It must be a language thing. In terms of a particular accent, a storytelling accent, I only see it as a certain way, and I don't know how to think of it in another language. I think these are exactly the visions that are in my head, so I don't know how to adjust it without being me."
I have several questions. Are his visions language? Is that what he just said?
I think what he means is he can only envision the movie one specific way. And he thinks I think language is a metaphor for different types of, like, how much you'd like something. Like I think what he's saying is, I really like this film. I really worked hard on it, and it was really good. And then I don't understand why people don't like it. And I tried to make it as good as I can, which is not very good.
Not very good.
I will give them some credit. I thought some of the CGI looked cool.
Some of the CGI for the bending effects was cool.
The bending effects was cool. I thought the bison looked fine.
The bison was cool. The score was nice.
The music was very nice. I really did enjoy that. It's your generic, like, stuff, but it was good. It was good generic. So Roger Ebert,
oh boy,
the most famous, I'd say, movie reviewer of all time, said this, quote, "The Last Airbender is an agonizing experience in every category I can think of, and others still waiting to be invented. The laws of change suggest that something should have gone right. Not here. It puts a nail in the coffin of low-rent 3D, but it would need a lot more coffins than that."
Damn.
There is the laws of chance suggest that something should have gone right. Something.
The odds are that at least one thing would work, but nothing. Like,
it's incredible. So this movie was nominated for a couple awards.
Ooh.
It was nominated for a couple Razzie Awards.
Okay.
Which, for those of you who don't know, the Razzie Awards are like the reverse Oscars. They're like the worst movies of the year. So it won Worst Picture.
Good.
Worst Director.
Good.
Worst Screenplay.
Thank God.
And Worst Eye-Gouging Use of 3D.
I'm glad that's an award, and I'm even more glad that they won.
We have not seen this movie in 3D.
We have not seen this movie in 3D.
We will not be able to see this movie in 3D, I don't think.
I would not see this movie in 3D if you paid me.
I paid to see this movie in 2D, but I saw it in HD, which was nice.
HD is a win.
But yeah, Apparently they used 3D.
I wonder if that would make the green screen look better.
No, I don't think so. So, do you remember what it was like? Because, like, I remember seeing the trailers for this movie. I was about 9 years old, probably. I was 9 years old when it came out, so I was at least 8 or 9 when this movie was released. And I remember thinking, wow, this looks pretty cool. But I just never saw it. And then when I got a little older and started, like, hearing about this movie and what went on, I realized how truly awful it actually was. But I had still never seen it. And I've now seen it. I can now say this may be one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Whoa.
And I have seen a lot of terrible movies. I have seen movies with no budget that are awful. I've seen movies with larger budgets than this that are awful. I have seen movies with great actors that are awful. Dev Patel is a great actor.
Dev Patel is a fantastic actor.
He is awesome. Lion was a great movie.
I did not see Lion. I will take your word for it.
I'm pretty sure that's his movie. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Dev Patel.
I think it was.
But this movie was so bad that I was almost struggling thinking of stuff to talk about how bad it was.
You just don't know where to start.
You have a lot more written than me. Ed has about 2.5 pages written.
I just have 2 pages.
I have 1 page, and that's including all the objective research about, like, the box office and stuff.
I just sort of put whatever was in my brain.
Would you like to share some of that? These notes you have here.
Right.
I have not seen these. Ed saw my notes before, except for the research part. But Ed saw my notes. So here's some of Ed's opinions on this movie as he was watching it.
From the beginning, we've got the girl talking to the audience about what a bad hunter her brother is. 'Tis ice cold. Is that a boomerang? I'm gonna have to edit out some of the cursing because I cursed a lot in my mind when I was watching this movie.
Our policy on cursing is we're not gonna go too bad. Yeah. I cursed a lot in my notes, but if this movie would probably be warranting of some cursing, but since it's the first episode, we're gonna go a little mellow. Here you don't have to read all your notes, just any highlights you have for us about this movie. Or lowlights, I guess, would probably be some.
Oh. At one point, I don't know when I wrote this, I wrote, Fire Bro, by which I assume I mean Dev Patel, talks like he's chewing cabbage, but there is no cabbage.
He kind of does. I see what you mean.
He sort of over-enunciates everything.
Yes! I am Zuko!
Yeah. Why are there lanterns in the spirit world? Oh, that was something I was going to talk about.
Oh, yeah, the spirits.
This entire subplot that we did not touch on.
Which made no sense.
And you occasionally make journeys to the spirit world to talk to a dragon. We don't know what the dragon is.
Perhaps it was Puff the magic dragon.
I really hope so. But there are, like, lanterns that someone maybe put up? Like, do the spirits need lanterns?
By this whole spirit world thing, by the way.
Yeah.
It's just literally there for no reason.
Like, there's sort of a scene where Zhao tries to kill one of the spirits, which for some reason resides in the body of a fish.
But, like, actually, this it's useless.
There's literally no reason for it to be in there.
And, like, okay, this movie was actually pretty short for
it was like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah. So it's pretty short for a blockbuster. And that's one of the reasons that M. Night Shyamalan said he struggled, was because he had to condense a 20-episode season into less than average length film. Feature blockbuster film.
Maybe credit where credit is due.
So
he clearly thought he'd get a sequel.
In that respect,
in fact, the first thing that happened is like,
I understand.
Doesn't it open with like a book 1?
Yeah, that's what, because it is the books, and in the show it's even the books, and there are physical books, and I think I did buy one of them, but never read them.
Huh.
I did that a lot when I was a kid. I'd always be like, wow, this book sounds really interesting, and then just never get around to reading it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have in here, Arrow Kid gets good at waterbending by taking his shirt off.
Yeah. He takes his shirt off.
And suddenly becomes vastly better at waterbending.
And by the way, this kid's like no older than 13.
Which is also really weird because he's supposed to be over, like he was sort of in...
He was frozen for 100 years.
But like, did he freeze? It's not like he was encased in ice. There was like a bubble around him. Shouldn't he have aged? What did he eat?
He was frozen. He's the Avatar. He can do whatever. Yeah, I think he kind of did like seal himself with like a self-containing bubble of air.
Okay.
I think that's what he did, like a spherical object that could self-sustain him. He was like in the eternal rest, I guess, or he's like a cocoon, maybe, perhaps. Perhaps he was a caterpillar and now he's a butterfly, a beautiful airbending shirtless butterfly with tattoos on his head.
Majestic tattoos on his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a terrible movie.
This was a terrible movie.
Don't watch it alone.
Yeah.
Don't spend money on it. Watch it with a lot of friends and pause and just talk about it every once in a while.
Yeah. Just like every few minutes, just stop and take in the travesty that you've seen before you.
I can't tell you how bad this was.
It's hard to express in words. Like, I feel we've done the best we could here, but
you almost have to go watch it yourself to see like how awful this movie is. And like, I'm not even joking, because like I actually am pretty easy to please when it comes to movies. I like a lot of movies.
Yeah, me too.
We're gonna get to this later, but I actually like Batman and Robin.
Ooh.
Yeah, right? Now everyone, and no one's listening anymore. They've stopped. I have no credibility. But when, because we are going to, when we review that movie, we will talk about why I don't hate it as much as everyone else does. But this movie was terrible.
It was just awful.
All right.
So
we have done a movie. I just want to thank you guys so much for listening. We are over an hour long, and so if you've listened to this whole thing, you guys are the best.
You're a really cool person if you made it to this.
Yeah, you guys are great. If you want to follow us on Twitter, our Twitter is Matt and Ed Show, MattandEdshow. If you'd like to email us, it's mattandedshow, same spelling, @gmail.com. We are available at SoundCloud. Just search Matt and Ed Show. It should pop up. Hopefully it does. If not, it'll be linked on our Twitter. And we will make a Facebook page. I'm actually going to make it as soon as I get home. And it's also available on YouTube. And if you look up Matt and Ed Show, you hopefully will find it. I looked it up just on my other account. I couldn't really find it. But I'm gonna make a way to make finding it more easy.
Awesome.
If that makes sense. So yeah, that's it for this week, I guess. Anything you want to plug, Ed?
Nope, that's pretty much it from me. Thanks so much for listening this far.
We really do appreciate this, and of course, this is the first episode, so there's a lot of kinks. We're gonna work on some stuff. We're gonna see what we want to watch next week. Yeah. We have a couple of ideas.
I have a couple really weird ideas for you.
Yeah, we have some obscure stuff. We have some fun stuff. If you want to suggest anything, you can just tweet us or send us an email. Yeah. If you have any questions you want us to answer on the air, tweet us or send us an email. If you know us, which probably will be most of the people listening to this, you can contact us if you want to appear on the show in some capacity, and we'll try and fit you on. We have a lot of stuff to record in the upcoming weeks because we're both going away for the summer, and and so we might do a marathon recording session, which will be kind of brutal, but it'll be also really fun.
Yeah.
So, hope you guys enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed doing this.
We enjoyed all of it except for the part where we watched the movie.
Yeah, the watching of the movie was pretty bad. So, I guess my name's Matt.
My name is Ed.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. We will see you next week.
See you next week.